Okay, I think we should be live. Welcome, everybody. We are so happy to be partnering with the University of Oregon's Sports Product Management Program to bring you this event tonight. My name is Teresa Saputo-Crearand, and I am one of the co-founders of Launch Break. Philippa Portnoy, my co-founder, is on this call as well. And we are thrilled to have worked on this talk. We have four incredible athletes standing by to discuss pivoting into the sports product industry. And we can't wait to get into the discussion. But before we do, I just wanted to mention to those who don't know what Launch Break is, we are a professional networking platform for women athletes who compete or who have competed at the collegiate level, national team, Olympian, Paralympian, semi-professional or professional level. And we're all about just propelling our members forward in their lives and journeys after sports. It's an authentic, welcoming community. We urge you, if you have played women's sports at that level, to join us at launchbreak.com. It is free, and we would love to see you there. I'm going to pass it over to Francine Hatton to just introduce the Sports Product Management Program. Before I do, I just wanted to say that there will be a Q&A at the end, the last 10 minutes or so. And we'd love to include your questions, so you can go ahead and put them in the chat or the comment section of YouTube. Okay, Francine, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the program. My name is Francine Hatton. I'm the Associate Director of Marketing and Strategic Communications for the University of Oregon Sports Product Management Master's Program. A little about the program. We're located in Portland, Oregon. We have a campus up here. Our master's program is 18 months, and it focuses on the business of product creation, specifically through the lens of the sports and outdoor industry. We have over 400 alumni that have graduated. We're a fairly new program, we're on year 11 this year. 90% of those alumni are working in the industry. A key element of the program is with the broad knowledge that you learn throughout the process, throughout the program, you're able to accelerate your career really quickly. Basically, what you learn in the program in 18 months would take you nearly 10 years to learn in the industry. So we're a very hands-on program. We have a 1,200 square foot innovation space that our students kind of live in while they create product. Our instructors, 95% of them are from the industry. So several have had long careers at Nike, working across, brand, product, supply chain, and a variety of different backgrounds. So you're learning directly from the industry, specifically to sport and outdoor product. So it's nice to have everyone, and we'll look forward to our panelists. I'm going to kick it over to Shayna Summers, who is going to be our MC for the event.
Yes, thank you so much, Francine, for the introduction, and so excited to be here. What amazing numbers that is to have for the program and the work that you all are doing. And it's great that we're able to bring together community to be able to have this panel happen. As mentioned, my name is Shayna. I am a professional women's tackle football player. I play tight end for the Chicago Winds. And yes, I am based here in Chicago, and career coach for women athletes who are looking to build careers as strong as their game. And so I am here to support them in whatever way possible to do that. And I am honored to be here to moderate this panel. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to the panelists so that they can introduce themselves. And so I'm going to go ahead and start off with Lisa. Lisa, if you would like to kick us off.
Thanks, Shayna. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Gilliland. I am the manager of community and partnerships at Title IX. If you don't know Title IX, we are a women's outdoor and active apparel brand. I'm based in California. I have been here for about 7.5 years, and I did play collegiate softball, nothing Olympic or professional from me, but I am on my adult league softball and soccer teams here in the Bay. So we get pretty competitive on Wednesday nights and, things get a little rowdy, but super happy to be here. Thank you all for having me and looking forward to chatting.
I know a thing or two about how competitive the adult rec sports get, so better watch out when it comes to Lisa on the field, okay? Thanks for being here, Lisa. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic over to Maddie.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie Hayden, and I'm a recent master's graduate from the University of Oregon Sports Product Management Master's Program, graduated in March. I grew up running. Started out running in middle school, and just at that time loved when Popsicle Fridays were a thing and not actually taking it too seriously. But then I fell in love with it and started running in high school more competitively and then in college. Then recently, I just finished my first season as a Girls on the Run volunteer coach, which was so much fun. Seeing the girls, their confidence grow from the first session to the end of the year 5K was so much fun, and just all the smiles that we had on that final day. But now I am taking all of my retail experience that I had prior to the program and now my program experience into Nike, and I am a materials developer for Jordan footwear.
Awesome. We're so excited to hear more about your journey and your story. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to pass the mic over to Sarah.
Hey everybody, my name is Sarah Wyman. I am the founder and CEO of Paradis Sport. We make women's performance underwear. I played Division I field hockey and lacrosse back in the 90s. I really need to get into the adult leagues. That sounds really fun. I got to play in like a co-ed field hockey league in New York when I lived in the city, and that was wild. Now I mostly run and hike and bike when I can get out for a workout. I live in Connecticut, and I work with a great team of women on this company, which I founded to solve my own problem. I wanted better athletic underwear. And we have found so many women who are interested in helping with fit testing. We fit test with elite and pro athletes. And we are right at the cutting edge on sort of innovation in chemical-free fabrics. And really excited to be here tonight and to share in this conversation. So thank you so much for inviting me and into the talk.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to learn more. And while we did already meet her before, we're going to bring her back. Teresa, if you could please come up to the stage. And if you want to give a shortened version of your introduction, that would be great.
I'm good. The only thing I didn't say, Shana, that I wanted to say was that our community is 2,700 women, over 2,700 women representing over 700 schools. So I just wanted to add that, but I'm good. You can go right into the panel.
Fantastic. See, because I knew that you were going to have something wonderful to add to this, so I had to be sure that we brought you up here as well.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. All right, so this first discussion topic is going to be for everyone. So very excited to be able to hear your thoughts on this, because rumor has it that there is a narrative going around that athletic experience is a soft credential. It's something that's not a thing that folks are looking for. And it's a nice to have, but it's not a differentiator. And I know that this audience feels the opposite. I know that all of us up on our virtual stage feel the exact opposite as well. So I want to ask you all, what did being an athlete give you that no degree or internship or certification could have taught you? And I think I'm going to tap it over to Sarah first.
I think teamwork has been the biggest key for me. It's learning what all the members of your team's strengths are and capitalizing on it, and trying to just put together, for at least for me, I'm actually trained as an architect and landscape architect. That's what I've spent over 20 years doing since my college sports days. So I, in starting my company, really found people who knew about apparel and knew about product development and I've had the best time learning from them. So the teamwork aspect of, at least for me, playing team sports has been incredibly helpful, and a big part. Also, that I would say the self-discipline of regimenting your day, scheduling your time. We have a recent college grad who played D1 field hockey and lacrosse, or ice hockey and lacrosse, and she is so efficient with her time. I know these days playing D1 sports, you really have to manage your time well, and I see it in the people that I get to work with.
Thank you for sharing. Maddie, how about you?
Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind was perseverance. I think being a distance runner, you had to have perseverance to make it through like a 5K race and still now. So I think especially going through the program, like everyone says, oh, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And like that's true. Like sure, it was a fast program, but also at the same time, like persevere through. And if you're ever coming through a tough, like even in the program, we had some tough times where like we were working in teams and maybe came across like a bump in the road or something, and having that perseverance to like work together and make it past that bump. And then even now into my role, like I'm very new to the industry and kind of getting a lot of information thrown at myself at once, but being persevering through the hard parts of it and just going out, seeking the right answers, seeking the like what do I need to do to get this job done type of attitude. And I think that's what kind of carried out throughout running and now carried out in my education and now my work experience.
Absolutely. Oh, great points all around. Lisa.
Okay, since I'm last, I'm going to go with two because I had two on my list that they didn't get to. Totally agree with what both Maddie and Sarah said. These two have been really prevalent for me, especially recently in my career. The first one for me is coachability. I think like we're always, whether we're in C-suite or an intern, like there's always opportunity to learn and grow in your career, and being able to like receive feedback in real time, hard feedback, good feedback, things that kind of make you want to cry, but like you really don't want to cry in front of your boss. I think just being able to be like nimble in that way and grow is something that I know I definitely took away from my younger days of sports. And then the other one, admittedly, was a harder learning for me and maybe still an opportunity, which is being a good winner, but also being a good loser. I am your like notorious sore loser. And at Title IX, we actually have a really unique way that we start our company meetings, and it's with a game. The game has to be made up, but the game has to have a clear winner and a clear loser. And we all come together afterwards and we work together and we make peace from whether we won or lost. But I think just being able to have that like grace and humility, both as a winner and when things maybe don't go your way, is something that I've definitely taken into my career and hopefully will continue to grow in.
No, 100%. I hope that there's not a back office tally that's keeping track of who's winning from each
I'll
of
send
these.
you a picture, Shayna. There's a full wall of this. We take our
I knew there
games
had to be
very
evidence.
seriously.
I knew there had to be evidence somewhere of who was winning in this, because you can't not start a company meeting and not keep track. You know, that's important to do. Well, great. Well, let's go ahead and get into our conversation with everyone. So I feel like it's only right, because this is an event for the University of Oregon, that we're going to start with our most recent grad. So Maddie, you have your master's in sports product management from the University of Oregon, and now you are working with Nike, specifically under the Jordan brand. For the folks in the audience who are thinking of going into a formal path to sports product, what does the corporate product track look like from the inside, and how did the University of Oregon help you on that path?
Yeah, so like I said, I was into running and my background was 10 years of run specialty retail. So I was around footwear and performance running specifically. I just was kind of like, I want to go beyond selling it. How can I be the person making it and find either skills that I need or that I'm missing to get a job to where I'm in the product creation role. And originally joining the program, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I originally came in being like, oh, maybe I want to do marketing, or maybe I want to do product line management, maybe I want to do development. And I think the best part about the program is it really touches every single aspect of the product creation process from the very beginning of like consumer research and surveys. We even touched on marketing and digital marketing, costing and sourcing and supply chain, literally everything in that 18-month period. And I think having that experience, just being able to dive into pretty much every subject like that was really allowed me to kind of find my interests and where I kind of would flow, and when assignments came up, what assignments were I doing first, what assignments were I gravitated towards. But then also having like the industry connections was huge. I got to have a summer experience at Olokai and sat with product creation teams. So I think that's where I realized instead of marketing, no, I want to do product creation. And then I got to work at do an apprenticeship at Adidas, and then that's what made me like decide that development is what I wanted to do. So I think it's really having these experiences along the way, taking advantage of those experiences, talking to people. Like we have some great professors, but also talking to people who are in the industry, finding somebody that you kind of connect with and like, hey, I'm kind of interested in your role. How did you get to where you are? And just hearing their stories and getting to know them was really helpful. So I think that was a big part of it, was just the opportunities that the program allowed me to have, and just dive deeper on the product creation side once I kind of realized like, oh yeah, this is something that I could do and that I have an interest in. I think from a running background, footwear has always been a focus of mine, so it was really cool to be able to work in footwear in that capacity. But when you're in the program, you're put into teams, and my team's project was actually apparel. So I think that was really cool to have both sides of like my passion is footwear, but I also know that apparel is a place that I need to grow in. So we actually made like our project was a women's specific waterproof denim pant that she could wear to the soccer game and be able to sit in the rain comfortably and not miss that game-winning goal and everything. So that was really cool to be able to kind of choose your own kind of pathway that you wanted and really kind of learn similar steps within the product creation process. But like I said, you got to see it all. So I think that's what really kind of set me up for success.
That's awesome to be able to see all of the ways that you were also able to pivot in your mind
Mhm.
of where you thought you were going to start and then where you ended up. That's
Yeah.
really cool to be able to have that experience and the group projects. Are you all going to sell that anytime soon? I
I
just
know.
asking
Yeah.
for myself.
It actually turned out really cool. Like one of my teammates had them on for our final presentation, and we were like those are legit. Those are really cool. And they had like
Yeah,
flaps too that would like protect your phone from water, and yeah. So we'll see.
we're going to keep an eye out.
All right.
Once that happens, please send us the link because we're going to
Sounds
make that
good.
happen.
Can do.
All right, let's jump over to Sarah. I know that the audience was already interested in the work that you were doing, and you truly didn't wait for a seat at the table or for somebody to bring a problem to you. You saw the gap and saw that it was personal to your own experience, and you decided to build the company for yourself, which is not an easy thing to do. So, for the person in the audience who has an idea for the product that no one has designed, what did those first steps actually look like? The nitty gritty part of it. We don't want the fluff part. We want to hear what it actually looked like. And then what do you know now that you wish you knew when you started?
That is such a great question, and it's helpful for me to think back. I was really busy with a ton of architecture work. I was running my own practice back in 2020 when I discovered that the brand of active underwear that I had worn for a long time had changed their fit and cut, and it didn't work for me anymore. So I ordered a whole bunch of other brands, and none of them worked very well. So my first step, I think, was like, what else is on the market? I can't buy the active underwear that I always loved. See what else is on the market. I was really disappointed with the other products that I got sent to me in the mail, and that I was just kind of surprised that there weren't better options. I think I approached the problem more with sort of the architect's lens or mindset. I just started calling factories and asking people. I didn't come at this with an apparel background, so I just called all these factories and I was like, who could design better active underwear for me? I made so many phone calls internationally and domestically, and I ended up with this factory in North Carolina, and they said, you need to talk to Louise. And Louise ended up being my first designer. She worked for NASA and the US military and commando, and she had a very technical design background. She came up with our first product. And so for me, my first step was like research what's out there, find someone who can make a prototype. And then the prototyping process took us like a year and a half. We actually surveyed all the female athletes at the college that I played sports at, and we got a very high response rate. That to me was a signal that like people are interested in this. This is something that it's not just me. I ended up hiring one of the college seniors as my first intern. So we did do I was able to do a lot of research and development. We fit tested with some of these college players as well. And it was great because she passed the baton on to her friend when she graduated and got a full-time job. Then I've ended up with just a series of great interns from the programs that I played in. And so in terms of just getting feedback on product, that was how I approached it. I didn't do any marketing for the first, I think, 3 years. I did no paid marketing. I went to trail running events and I sat there with my table and my product and I talked to people and I gave out some samples. And so it was really kind of like beta testing. And as I became more confident in the fact that more and more people really loved what we were doing, and I found out through talking to ultra runners that we had solved for chafing, not something we had intended to do, but great feedback. So I kind of just like one step at a time kept going forward. And when I finally did hire someone actually with a University of Washington degree who's now a pro cyclist, she knew a ton of people in professional sports and has kind of helped grow our fit testing network. We have about 30 ambassadors now who are elite and pro athletes who fit test our products. So again, that teamwork that I talked about, finding people who can help fill in the gaps where I don't have knowledge or don't have a network, has been really key for me. And just asking a lot of questions. That's kind of how I've approached it. And what do I wish I had known? I wish I had known how to organize the financial side of it better at the beginning, just in terms of like what it costs to get to scale. And I think just it sounds like most of you on this call probably have better access to that if you're involved in like Maddie, the program that you went through, it sounds like it set you up really well for that. I've been relying heavily on like what I know through my architecture work in terms of the business side of things, and I'm learning a ton. But that for me was something that I probably could have learned more about at the beginning. I'm glad I didn't know how hard it was because it is really hard, but also really rewarding and exciting and inspiring. But it's kind of good to not know how hard it is.
Yeah, that mystery of getting in there and saying, oh, we have to learn some things. We have to do some research. But I think you are a prime example of what it means to build community along with the product. And that's important. I think the thing that you mentioned around, I need to bring in people that know more is important because a lot of folks think that they have to go about this on their own, especially if they decide to take an entrepreneurial lens and put a product together and build it. And then all of a sudden, you're HR, you're the finance person, you're also building the product. And it's great that you were able to hone in on that foundation early. And I think that's really exciting.
Thank you so much for saying that.
Of course. Of course. Thank you for sharing on that piece. All right, Lisa, your lane's a bit different because you didn't do the typical let's break into product, let's do this type of way. And you're basically building the ecosystem around the women who are using the product. So for the person or the athlete who is thinking, I don't really want to design products, maybe that's not my strength, but I want to be in the industry, I want to do meaningful work for athletes. What does that entry point look like? And what are some of the opportunities that folks aren't taking advantage of?
Yeah, I think it's probably in everyone's best interest that I'm not designing anything that you are buying at Title IX. But I do love just, hearing Maddie and Sarah's stories too. And I think combined with mine, hopefully what you all take away is there's no straight path into this kind of field. So I do work on the marketing side of things. But my background is in education. I have a psychology degree, and I actually, before Title IX, was an infant and toddler teacher. You might be surprised, there's a lot of overlap between what babies need and what adults need. So there are actually a lot of applicable skills that I learned from my time in education. And I loved that work, but I also quite frankly, I live in California. I needed to make ends meet. So I was looking at a career pivot, and I sat down. I was lucky enough to have community, right? To lean on the people around me, the women around me. And I sat down and genuinely, like, I just listed out pen and paper, old fashioned, the things I'm good at, the things I love, and the things that I like needed in a job. And what I'm good at is talking, you guys. Like, I'm good at talking. I like talking. I like being in community. I like meeting other people. I gain energy from surrounding myself with like-minded women. And I knew I wanted an in-person role, right? And I love being active. I also love shopping. So I was like, what can I do that combines my love for like buying things and my consumeristic side and this desire to build community? And I became a community builder, literally right there in the words. I really wanted a job that had impact. So part of the role I do now is supporting female founders like Sarah in their entrepreneurial journey, watching them do it. Made me decide not to do it myself, but cheering them on is really, really awesome and fun to do. And I think what I would say, you know, in terms of if you want to get into sports product or outdoor apparel and you're not the designer, there is a full team surrounding that design team. We have literally right outside these doors right here. You can't see them, I can. We have our 8 amazing female designers working really hard to make great product. But it is not going to hit the site if we don't have our e-commerce team designing our website, if we don't have our finance and IT teams making sure we can afford all of the platforms we're on, keeping the computers on, HR, making sure that we're all working smoothly together and playing those games, creative designing all the assets, marketing, going out there and selling it to people, our warehouse team, literally like packing it up and getting it out the door. It is a full team effort. To Sarah's point, that teamwork is crucial. And we have a really good flow here at Title IX. But I definitely, my hop over from education to working at Title IX, I was a 25-year-old intern. You know, interns have come up a few times on this call. I think taking advantage of just the people you talk to. I was out running one day at lunch when I was working at the daycare center, and I ran past a group of women working out in a park. I already told you I like to talk. It's probably coming across in this conversation. I stopped and I asked the women, I was like, who are you? Can I join your workout? And they were like, we work at Title IX. This is our lunchtime workout. That week, I hit up somebody on LinkedIn that I knew at Title IX. They were hiring for interns. That was 2019. I became an intern. And I don't know if they know that I haven't left yet, but I'm still here and, you know, having a lot of fun growing the community and partnerships at Title IX. So definitely not a straight path. Definitely thought I would be teaching my whole life, but super, super stoked to have found an impactful role where I can be myself with like-minded women and have a lot of fun for the most part during the day too.
And it's awesome to see how quickly you accepted a pivot as well. It's really cool to be able to say that you put yourself out there just to say, who are these people? Let me see what happens. And it's also awesome as a fellow community builder to another community builder, how we all start in the psychology world and we think that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of our life. And then we figure out that we like talking and we like yapping too much. So we end up in these other spaces. So
Shana,
we're in
I
it
knew I
together.
liked you.
In it together, girl. We are here for this. So yes, well, we are learning so many amazing things about you all. So we have another question that I would like for all of you to provide responses to. So today's audience is full of folks who are pre-transition, could be making the plan, but haven't yet made the move into this space. What did you or what do you wish you had done to build credibility and community before you ever built your career? And Lisa, I am going to pop it back to you just because we ended with you before. I'm going to make sure we start back with you.
I had a feeling. I'm not shy, Shana, no worries. You know, I think that it's really hard to picture like where your life is going to go, whether you're, you know, pivoting careers at 50 or if you're about to graduate college. I definitely never thought I was going to be this like career businesswoman. Like I said, thought I was going to be a teacher working with like literal infants. And I do wish I had taken a little bit more initiative, especially in like college when you have so much at your fingertips. And I think now with the internet and just with communities that are popping up everywhere, there's so much opportunity to just get yourself out there. I would totally recommend just whatever it is you love doing, go do it, right? If that's adult field hockey, go join the adult field hockey team and meet people who love that too and talk to them. And you might find out that they have an awesome job, or they know somebody who works at a place you really want to work at. For me, I wish I had joined my local like WISE chapter or got more involved with women's sports even earlier on. Even now, I think that there's so much opportunity to go out and be, participate in launch break events and put yourself out there, go to happy hours with communities. Go by yourself. It's really, it might feel scary, but especially in community with other women, it's like the most accepting place you can go. My version of putting myself out there was being that adult intern. And like literally one guy came up to me and he was like, "When do you go back to college?" And I was like, "No, I'm not in college anymore." But I don't think you can undervalue just what being like a hardworking, smart, determined person can get you, and just start having those conversations. You never know where they're going to lead you.
Absolutely. It is so important. So important to have those conversations. All right, Maddie, how about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with like sparking up conversations. I think that's a big like reason why I found the program. Similar, I like to just spark up conversation and chat with people. So when I was in retail at the time, I worked at the On store here in Portland, and we were around when the big store opened up on 23rd, which got a lot of foot traffic in of people from these companies. Like out in Portland, you're around Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, and Hoka, and I'd see what people are wearing on their feet, and I'd just be like, "What do you like? What's your job? What do you do?" I obviously you're decked out in Nike or you're decked out in Hoka, and people would bring up, "Oh, I'm like a developer," or "I'm a product lead manager," or "I'm in marketing at one of these big brands," and be like, "Well, how'd you get that job? How'd you start there?" And they would bring up the program. And I think finally by the 10th time I heard the name of the program, I was like, okay, maybe I should figure out what this is all about. Got on a call, and similar, I was like, I had not sat in a classroom for 10 years, and I'm like, I can't imagine going back to school, but here I am on an admissions call, and that was in April, and literally in September I joined the program. So I think it was just definitely that feeling and that knowing of like what I'm good at and what I want to do, how do I get there, but also like just seeing what other people, what their careers are and what do they do, what do they enjoy doing, and being like, how can I think the true thing was just me investing in myself. Like I really see this as a big investment in myself, and taking that jump to do something this big was definitely out of my comfort zone, but definitely something I do not regret, and I'm very happy that I did so. So I think just kind of knowing what your interests are, where they lie, how to get to that, and just really taking the time to invest and slow down. I think that was also part of it is before coming to Oregon, I was in Reno, Nevada, and just was really working and loving my job as a manager at a retail store. But I think that whole time I was there, I was really just grinding, like staying late, going to every single possible event, learning the community there, and just really kind of, I mean, I loved it, but like I said, I don't think I truly took the time to slow down and realize what do I want like in the next 5 years? What do I want for myself and for for my career? So yeah, I think kind of knowing what to do, kind of how to seek it out, and figuring out kind of that pivot.
I appreciate that. You also said with your whole chest, investing in yourself,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
that's a key thing to me doing that. And that's great that you got to say that. All right, Sarah.
I would say anyone who's currently part of sort of a team or an athletic program, you have an amazing resource at your fingertips. Whether it's, coming from my perspective, if you're thinking about a product or a business that you're interested in launching, um, that's a great community to test with and to use as a sounding board. So I would say definitely take advantage of that and take advantage of the professors and the resources that you have if you are a current college student or grad student. Um, One thing, I'm 50 and thinking back to when I was about to graduate from college and I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I'd studied art history. And I ended up for a couple of years in jobs that I didn't love. I did worked in PR and I worked at an art auction house. And I find myself thinking about those years so long ago, 25 plus years ago, and the things that I learned from those jobs, even though I didn't love them, I learned really valuable things. And I do think that if you don't know what you want to do, try something and you'll learn something valuable from it. And you'll learn whether you don't want to do it anymore or what you do want to do. So that's sort of so that's been my experience. Some people are more driven and or more focused on what it is that they want to do. I now find myself in a role where I can draw from a lot of different experience. And if that sounds interesting to you, then maybe you would be well suited to running a business. I do a little bit of everything every day, and I'm not an expert at any of them, but I find people who are good, really good at what they do, and assemble the team. And I think it's interesting for me to now find at this point in my career that that's a possibility and something that I'm able to do, combine a lot of different interests.
Yeah, and it is core for somebody who is running a business as well. I run one too, and I get to do a lot of things. So you don't have to be the expert. Just remember that as well. All right. Before we go off to our next question, if you all have questions, make sure you are dropping them in the live chat so that we can get to them towards the end. We want to be sure that we get all of these answers with these amazing folks that are up here on this panel already dropping gems for you. So in the live chat, be sure to ask those questions and we'll be sure to get them asked at the end of this panel. All right, Sarah, I'm coming back to you because earlier you mentioned that your background is in design and architecture, which I feel like is some of the hardest work, but also because I realized how much math was involved. But you've also mentioned that product development felt like the hardest part for you. So what did you have to learn that, whether being in a sports environment or, engaging in sports now, didn't prepare you for, and how did you close those gaps so that you could be able to work on a traditional product?
Well, I think asking a lot of questions has been one of my strengths my whole life. I think it drove my parents crazy. Um, but ask a lot of questions. Don't be embarrassed to ask questions, and admit that you don't know something. I learn so much new stuff every single day. So on the product side, I definitely don't hesitate to ask, like, why can't we do this? Why can't I have a stripe down the side of that base layer top that I'm designing? Like, show me how it's knit and why it is that you can't do this thing that I want to have done. So pushing, like for me, pushing manufacturers and designers to come up with new solutions and better solutions. Like I asked the question, why can't we have chemical-free activewear? And we're designing around that concept now. And so I think being open-minded to, and I think my background in architecture has been incredibly helpful in this sense. In architecture school, we're taught to like come up with an idea that's very much of a sketch idea and then refine it over time. So I think just putting something on paper, getting started and knowing that it's not perfect to begin with, and then working on it and refining it and refining it and refining it, keep testing it. That's been really key for me.
Yeah, it shows the resilience that you have as well to be like okay with failure, okay with messing up, okay with not, having it right the first time. And that's really cool to be able to see that process too. All right, Lisa, you've spent years connecting people, building meaningful relationships inside a brand that's been championing sports before it was trendy, especially for the ladies, okay? Because it wasn't always the trendiest thing to do. But what do you see that tells you that the women's sports market is at an infection moment, like positive infection? I don't know how to put that in another way, but at an infection point and not just a moment. Like we are continuing to see this trajectory go up. And what does that mean for the athlete trying to figure out where they may fit in this world?
Yeah. I think we can all agree it's like such an exciting time for women's sports, for women in the outdoors as well. You mentioned we've been doing this since before it was cool, kind of like how our founder's been playing pickleball for like 15 years. We were founded in 1989. So when our founder, Missy Park, was in her basement with her sewing machine, designing sports bras, there was no market for it, except there was, because women were just wearing t-shirts really, really tight, or a men's pair of basketball shorts folded 18 times. I'm short, so it was literally 18 times. It's super exciting to be where we're at right now. We've got data, right? The sales data, the foot traffic in our retail stores, that's all telling us that sales are great, thankfully, but also continuing to improve. In my work specifically, what I'm really excited about is the influx of women-led brands designing gear for women, right? Our bodies are not the same as men's. We are no longer shrink it and pink it-ing things that were made for men and saying it's going to work for a woman's body. We don't put up with that anymore, right? We're out there adventuring, we're playing our sports, we're achieving at the highest level like we've always been, okay? But like now there are brands catching up and doing the work to make sure that they're meeting us in those spaces. And they're seeing success in their numbers, in that financial data that I thankfully do not have to look through, and that is not a field I sit in. But in the work I see women-owned brands popping up left and right, especially during COVID. Women took the opportunity to say, hey, we're not just going to sit here and be quiet and deal with like, getting like or whatever was happening. We're going to start companies to fill those gaps like Sarah did. There is something out there that I need. I want to solve a problem. There's nothing being made for me. So who better to do it than us? There's an awesome company called Sequel that's redesigning the tampon because 75 years ago, a man decided that he was going to design a tampon. I'm sorry. A man invented the tampon, you guys, okay? Just like hold that for a second. That makes no sense, right? So there are so many women out there doing awesome work, and my job is to elevate their stories, which is super rad. Like I'm the luckiest person ever. So I'm really excited by all of the brands I see popping up on social media, on TikTok, getting served ads from the women-owned businesses left and right, having people come through my inbox who want to know more about how Title IX got started and how we can help them. We carry products from other brands, especially women-owned businesses. About 75% of the product that isn't Title IX branded are from small women-owned businesses. And that is really just a huge part of our story and really exciting and fun. What I would say for the athlete who's trying to figure it out, this is such a great time to be getting into this industry and to be a female athlete. The industry is finally catching up to us, and kind of like what you said earlier, Shayna, instead of trying to make the table work for you, just like pull up a chair, come join, because there is a desire for authenticity, for inclusivity and utility, like designing things that have a real function. The audience is ready and hungry for it. We're ready to spend that money to get out there to get the perfect pair of pants with the pockets we need, or the sports bra that's going to allow us to go and drive the lane and make that layup without having to worry about things. And so it's really exciting and very late, but happening finally. And I'm excited to see it continue to take momentum and continue with folks like Sarah and other people in the audience who are out there making the product that we all need.
Yes. I was like, and you dropped some historical gems as well to remind us of the things hasn't
I
always been the way that
honestly-
we wanted to see it.
It
We're happy
doesn't
for it
surprise
today.
me, but it's terrifying to think about.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I think the storytelling piece and the brand building piece is imperative with the work that's happening and being able to have more of that representation. And Maddie, you are a part of that representation as well. And so you got to take the pivot and see it from two different lanes. You had your experience in retail that you mentioned, and now you got to get your degree in sports product management and then actually jump right in. So how has that transition been able to prepare you for working not only at Nike, but that is a large corporation. So, and that seems intimidating for some folks when they're getting into it. How did all of that prepare you for where you are now?
Yeah, I'm super fired up already from what Lisa was just talking about. I think I think running gave me I like to say running gives me the passion for the sport. And then retail gave me passion for the product and the consumer. And then the program gave me that passion for the product creation side of things. So there's always going to be like I'm always going to go back to like how footwear basically impacted my life, like from coming back from injury and running and just being a part of like a running team and having that relationship. So I think I'm always going to carry that with me, whether I stay in development or in some type of role. Just always being the one to kind of advocate for that consumer. And yes, I would love that consumer to be female as well. Just going off of that female empowerment. And I think like kind of the best ways of just how I feel like I've gotten into the industry is like we said, just kind of asking those questions, meeting with people, finding kind of that what your passions are and kind of acting on that. And I think that's where, like I said, sport led me to my passion. And I truly appreciate like my running experience and for having that and to helping me grow to where I am now. So yeah, I guess kind of thinking about kind of the industry and how I've landed in this space. Definitely the program kind of set you up for success just through the learnings there, and then having the instructors just be very knowledgeable in their fields, and then having those connections through the instructors as well. Definitely asking questions, not being afraid to just say, hey, I'm interested in this, finding somebody who can help kind of guide you in that way. So yeah, I think I can't remember the question already, but yes.
No, you crushed it. You crushed it. Being able to see that is great. And I love the three-part breakdown to say how it was for you personally as an athlete, also being able to see how like the consumer worked and now you are being able to work on a product that you were also passionate about. So that's really cool to be able to see how that circle works and the different lanes that you got to learn from.
Yeah, definitely. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. I have one final question for you all before we go into our Q&A. So one more reminder for folks, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We are going to be answering them for the next 10 minutes. But before we go off into that, quick last question for you all. It doesn't have to be as quick, but a little quick one. If an athlete came up to you tomorrow and said, I want to break into sports product, where do I start? What is your answer? Once again, like I said earlier, the real one, not the fluff of like, let's network and let's do XYZ and fill out your resume this way. What is your very real response? And I'll jump back over to Sarah because we talked to you earlier. Now we can talk to you now.
I would say get on. How do you like that? I think athletes and people who are hiring is really interesting and robust. And I think, talk to anyone you know in the industry, but try to get a sense for what it is within sports that you want to kind of pursue, and then reach out to as many people as you can within that field. It's an
Awesome.
exciting
And then
time. So I'm envious of those of you who are entering it now.
Yes, it's never too late. And then it broke up a little bit, but just to be sure that we heard it correctly, one of your first suggestions was to join Launch Break and check out
Join
like
Launch
network
Break.
social media
That's
like
it.
that.
Yep.
Yes. Just making sure we gotta get all the points here. So yes. All right, Maddie, how about you?
Yeah, I think just be curious. Like you can come in kind of with some interest, but like for me, like I said, I was totally thinking about marketing, and at the time I was like really into social media and marketing, and I was like curious in other ways. So I'm like, let me see what this is all about. So never be afraid to just like honestly, I kind of laugh because I remember doing like a career class in I think middle school, and I shadowed an elementary school teacher one day. And I was like, that's all it took to realize I don't want to teach. But I still did it because I was curious, and I was like, okay, cool, one recess, and I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. So I know I don't want to do that. And then I think when I was at Olakai as well, so Olakai is a footwear company based in Portland, and they did product creation, so design development, wear testing, and product line management and materials. Same thing. I spent a day with a designer, and I was like, yep, I'm good. Don't want to do designing, but it's just still that curiosity of like just seeing what else is out there. Honestly, I didn't even know material development, the role that I'm in now, even existed. And so again, it's just like having that curiosity of being like, let's see what this is all about. And honestly, I think playing the student card was also a big part of it. Like, hey, I'm a student. Can I just come and shadow you? Can I come in? Like, I sat at Columbia headquarters and met with the marketing director there. And I was like, can I just see what a day in your life is like? I think pulling that student card, people are always willing to help, but also like relying on an alumni network too, if that's what you're a part of. If you've already graduated, check in with your alumni group. And also again, like with the sports product management program, like if you're saying an alumni of that program, like people are willing to like, oh yeah, come, let's catch up, let's have lunch together. Like, let's see what was your SPM experience about? What was your team project about? I think pulling the student card and then also having that alumni resource is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Lisa.
I totally echo what Maddie said. When I was teaching, I would ask the parents, all the moms that were dropping off their kids, like, what do you do? And not just like, what's your title, but like, what do you actually do every day? Because I think there are so many cool roles out there. And sometimes I hear from people like Maddie of like, I get to design this or I do this. And I'm like, that's a real thing. Like, what do I Google to find those types of jobs, right? So that's definitely, I echo that. Something that we're really big on at Title IX besides games is failing. And it doesn't have to be a huge failure. Again, something I think we learn in sports, that loser mentality that I'm not good at. But just being willing to put yourself out there and not always get the yes, not always get what you want, whether that's literally just applying for a job and it not working out, or, you know, you go to an event and you network and you don't meet the right person. You know, it doesn't have to be these big catastrophic life-changing failures, but just get started and get out there. And there's no better day to start than today. If not today, then tomorrow. Okay. It's almost the end of the day. Fine. It can be tomorrow, but get started, because at some point you'll look up and it'll be 20 years later and you haven't done it yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ah, the gems that you all have dropped today, immaculate. Amazing. Thank you all so much. We have some questions that have rolled in. So to try and get through as many as possible, I will ask the panelists, just if you feel confident answering that question, come off mute, but it does not have to be and everyone answer everything. So do not feel obligated or pressured to do so. Our first question that came in: what roles, job titles, or departments do you see companies investing in the most right now? Looking for roles that might be growing in the near future. It's great future forward thinking there.
I can jump in. I'd love to hear
Go
what
for
Maddie
it.
and Sarah have to say, but I don't think any of us are strangers to the fact that AI is like out there. It's writing copy for people. It's helping us come up with our clever captions for our social media posts. I don't think AI is going to be physically designing the shoes anytime soon or testing the underwear on the real people out there. So I think there's just so much opportunity in continuing to engage with humanity and get actual people involved. And I think, you know, long term, if in whatever role you're in, you can ground yourself in real human interaction, at some point, you know, maybe there is an underwear that AI has designed and it's going to clearly be not as good as what Sarah's designed, because she has actually put this on bodies that are moving, actually spinning the pedals of a bike or running or whatever it is. And there's, you know, no way that something on the computer could beat that. So it you know, is really personal for you, what department or job title. Try not to get stuck in a job that really doesn't suit you, because this might be something you do for a long time. And if you hate it, that really sucks. But if you can find a way to just make sure that that job does interact with people, I think that would be better for all of us in the long run too.
100%. 100%. All right, next question. For capable, experienced, and passionate athletes, how do women avoid undervaluing themselves in this discouraging and ultra competitive job market? It's like, it is a hard world out here. I was like, the spaces are being difficult. As Lisa mentioned, AI is making it even more difficult to be able to do the work. I think, to Sarah's point on tapping on this, the community building side of things is going to help you, because the people that you surround yourself with are going to talk you up. They're going to put your name in rooms that you're not in, and they are going to remind you of who you are. They're going to remind you of the work that you get to do. They're going to remind you of the foundation that you've already built for yourself, and they're going to be the folks that are going to remind you of who you are. So the number one thing that I would say is to surround yourself with people who are not only going to help you do the search, help put your name in other rooms, but also be the people that are going to lift you up and build from there. I did jump in on that question. If anybody else would like to add anything. Feel free.
I will add something real fast. To get that kind of support, I think Lisa mentioned this before. I mean, join a community like Lunch Break, because they'll tell you how to not undervalue yourself, or go to a school like the Master's Sports Product Management at University of Oregon. I just think that you know, there's strength in numbers, and the more women that you're around that have that kind of experience, just the more badass you're going to be.
Absolutely that. It's like, you can't feel bad when you're surrounded by people telling you you're a badass every day. You really can't. All right, this question says it's for the panel, so all of you are put on the spot. What was your favorite project or product you worked on, and why?
I can take this. Mine's very specific. I wanted to develop seamless modal. Modal is a natural fiber. Um, it's a natural fiber that can be knitted into like seamless garments. But nobody in the US was doing it, and was having the hardest time finding someone, a factory somewhere that would try making seamless modal garments. And you might all think I'm such a weirdo, but I wanted to do this for 5 years, and I finally found a factory in Portugal that would do it. And so now we are making seamless modal underwear, and we're dyeing it with mineral dyes. So that actually has been for me the longest journey and the most rewarding process because it took so long to find a manufacturer who did it. It's a relatively new manufacturing type, but I wanted natural fibers and I wanted seamless and took some time. But it was worth it.
Nice.
Shayna, can I share a quick story here too?
Of course.
I'm sure I would love to hear Maddie's answer too, because I'm sure you have some really interesting ones, but not on the product side of things. I got the pleasure of owning the partnership between Title IX and the Seattle Storm last year. And so I was tasked with coming up with the encore activation that needed to be something quick that showed who Title IX was, but was engaging for the audience and unique. We design awesome sports bras. Our founder was like, it's a parachute, but the parachute is a sports bra, or it's a slingshot, but the slingshot's a sports bra. And I was like, what can we do to tell our story quickly? So we partnered with a local women-led nonprofit in the Bay Area, and we used our excess 300 bad return sports bras that could not be sold, and they wove them into a 75-pound, 40-foot tug-of-war rope. And for 6 games during the Seattle Storm season last year, they brought that rope out onto the court, and there were 2 teams of women tugging the tug-of-war rope with bras hanging down in the middle, and it was stretching and seams were popping, and it was super chaotic and really memorable. And we got some feedback at the end of the season that was like, that sports bra tug-of-war rope, that was weird. Like, that was cool. And I bought a sports bra from Title IX. So it was a really fun project and something that I'm weirdly proud of because who else has ever made a sports bra tug-of-war rope out of sports bras?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Maddie, do you have anything you want to
I
add?
would love to see a picture of that.
Right. No, I need the videos.
Yeah,
I have that.
exactly. Videos. Yeah. Yeah, I think, sorry, my internet, it said it was going in and out of connection, so let me know if
No,
something
you are good.
happens. But yeah, I think basically like my favorite project that I worked on, I mean, I had 2 really big ones. One was the team project from the program, the apparel pants, but like I said, footwear is kind of my passion. So being able to create like my own footwear piece at Adidas with like highly esteemed, highly talented staff there was so much fun. I got to basically create this concept, figure out who the consumer was, find this white space opportunity and build this piece of footwear from like literal being on sewing machines and like cutting out materials on like big laser machines. So really understanding the whole development process between like what's it take to make a footwear pattern, having that communication and being sure that you are communicating what you want out of that product. So it doesn't slow down production, but then also being the one to like physically sew it myself too was really rewarding. So to come out with like a physical product that I can hold in my hands was awesome. So that's like my ultimate goal is to obviously create be on a team that will create a project from beginning to end. So if anything comes out, I'll be sure to let you all know.
No, that's awesome. And that's really cool to hear all of the work that you all were able to do. And I do think that for sports product, one of the most rewarding things is being able to see that end result and what it looks like and being able to actually touch it and put it out to the world. So yes, well, everybody, thank you all so much for your questions and for sending all of those through, for being such an engaged audience. I also want to give virtual claps to our panelists. Thank you all for being here and for sharing all of your knowledge. Lisa, Maddie, Sarah, so great to have you and to be a part of this. That is about our time. So I'm going to pass the mic back over to Francine, who is going to wrap us up for the evening.
Thank you for joining, everyone. We will reach out with any questions to answer any questions that you guys have. So look for an email from us.